Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Nice to have you on with us. We appreciate that. Always, always happy to see so many people join us live when they can. And we'll say hello to our few friends. We'll have the roll call this morning. Andrea, how are you from Niagara Falls? You're number one on the hit parade today, Andrea. Sandy, Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Kevin, Oshawa. Brahim from Portland, Oregon. The Trinity right at the top today. And Sandy added in, Nativity. How are you? Lisa, Bonnie, Little Britain. And Justin from Michigan. How are you? Lucille, good morning. Madeleine, Kipawa, Quebec. Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. And let's see, Dennis from Norwich. Serpa from Dowling, Ontario. Somebody put an emoji there, but I didn't see the name. Nellie, Dr. Troy Bennett, dear friend. How are you, my friend? From Newfoundland. Annette, Wendy from Markham. Diane, Thunder Bay. Linda, those Lindas, New Brunswick. Eileen from Brampton. Lise, how are you? From Sudbury. Carol, West Virginia. And Brahim saying it's sunny and hot in Portland today. Rosalinda, Niagara Falls. Sandy, Chilliwack, British Columbia. Lise with an emoji. Dave, how are you, my friend? Paul, how is you? And Patricia from Pulaski, Tennessee. Cheryl from West Virginia. Maggie, how are you, Maggie? Right from Sudbury. Marianne. Luella, West Tennessee. Francis from Vaughan. You guys, I love you so much. You come on every day. Lori. Dave from Jensen Beach, Florida. Mary Smith. John and Linda from Fenland Falls. There's Nick. How are you, Nick, from our staff? Nice to have you on. Diane. Nativity. How are you? Sherry in Mississauga. Carol, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Marilyn from Charlottetown, PEI. Anna it's Annie, from Lively. Mara, Windsor. Gloria, New York. Rose, Lighthouse Cove. How are you? Ashley, Karen, Linda from St. Jude, Quebec. Okay, couple of more, guys. Gwen, Serpa saying it's snowing in Dowling. Anne from St. Catharines. And Donna, how are you, Donna, from Park Hill. Deb from Harrow. Yvonne, how are you? John from Elgin, Illinois. Teresa and Janine. We love you guys. Donna, Newfoundland. Gary, Bolton. Natalie. And there's Deb from Timmins. Dave, Scarborough. Amber, New Jersey. Okay, let's get going. Thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate it. Hi, Mary. Ann from Bethany. Veronica. Okay, now, I was reading an article yesterday on the Pima, P-I-M-A, Indians, okay? And it's very interesting because they've done a lot of studies on them. And I was reading an article. I'd known about it in the past, but it just sort of refreshed my memory. And the Pima Indians, the native tribe there in Arizona, used to be a very, very healthy people. Okay? What happened? And this is what the article is talking about, and I might have mentioned this on the program a few years ago. I can't remember exactly if I actually mentioned them specifically, but I'd seen studies on this tribe in Arizona, and they used to be very healthy, and now 50% diabetic, 50% obese in that tribe. And that's why they're doing the research. Well, why didn't they just come and ask me? I would have told them what happened. I've done a lot of work over the years with the indigenous people, okay? The First Nations. Lots of work. Why? Well, I sort of specialized in insulin, hormonal, obviously saw thousands, if not tens of thousands of diabetics in my office. And I went to many, over the years, reservations to speak. And a few of them where I did clinics. And here's what I told them, okay? Because they like me. Because, well, I sort of teased them a bit, okay? Here's how I would do it. The white man, okay? They're looking at me. I'm a white man. I said, the white man, we know how to kill you guys. What? Well, you say we took your land, 1, 2, we know how to eliminate you. What? Well, we just get you to eat our food. And they look at me like, Dr. Martin, you're funny. Well, this is not funny. This is exactly what happened. You eat our food. The Pima Indians studied, researched. How can 50% of their population be diabetic and 50% of their population be obese? What happened? They were never like that. Well, guess what? They started eating processed foods. They started eating our diet. And the amount of sugar we consume, what did I tell you the other day? That, let me read it to you again. We now eat, okay, this is an article. We now eat in 2 weeks the amount of sugar our ancestors ate in a whole year. We eat it in 2 weeks. The average North American. Now, what happens with the Pima Indians and happens to the indigenous First Nations? What happens? Well, genetically, they have a weakness. It's well established. They have a weakness towards diabetes. But as long as they don't eat white man's food, they don't get diabetes. They have a weakness towards it. Guys, you guys know this, okay? In our new book, we talk about this. I think right in the first chapter. Genetics load the gun, but the diet pulls the trigger. Yeah, you have genetics. I got genetics. We have diabetes coming out our ears in our family. Okay? My dad, my grandfather. I look at pictures, especially as I get older. I look like my dad. Well, genetically, I've got some weakness just like him. Right? Genetics load the gun, but it don't pull the trigger. And that's the same with the native population. They have bad genetics. India, terrible genetics for diabetes. Egypt, terrible genetics for diabetes. But that don't make you a diabetic. It just makes you more susceptible to diabetes. Genetics load the gun, but your actions pull the trigger, especially with food. Now, we put out a newsletter this morning, and I think it was yesterday was Cancer Day or something. I must have missed it. Okay, you got cancer in your family. Okay, I'm considered an insurance risk. Diabetes in the family? I'm not a diabetic, but diabetes in the family. Insurance companies, they want to know your history. Well, we have cancer in our family. I'm an insurance risk. Okay? And the thing is, guys, you might have cancer in your family. That don't make you get cancer. It just makes you more susceptible to it. And believe me, we all got defects. I haven't met anybody yet that don't have a defect in their family tree, their genetics, okay? But medicine, for years, okay? For years. And even today, when it comes to diabetes, they just hate to talk about food. You know what they want to talk about? Genetics. Okay? I had doctors. I had doctor appointments, for a physical, for insurance. Oh, doc, you're a risk. I said, well, you're a risk. You don't know anything about food. You eat in moderation. You believe all the nonsense about fat and saturated fat and eggs are bad, butter is bad, meat is bad, don't eat too much. Fat will make you fat and fat will give you cholesterol. And they, that's all they know. They don't know much. Sugar, well, moderation. Sugar, guys, in the first day of medical school, you know what you should learn? This is the first day in medical school. They don't learn it, but they should. Sugar is toxic. If you don't believe me, ask a diabetic. Because it's sugar diabetes. And sugar molecules holding hands in bread. Fast food. You know what is fast food? Is bread. It's just fast food. That's all it is. Guys, I don't care if it's 20 grain bread, whole wheat, whatever bread. It don't matter. Just sugar molecules holding hands. That's all it is. So guys, you study the Pima Indians, okay? And believe me, they've been studied because they're looking at the world and medicine, okay? They look at, it's genetics, bad. Yeah, but they were never unhealthy. As a matter of fact, they used to be very healthy. That tribe didn't even know what heart disease was. Guys, you've heard me say this before. Go way up north. Okay? Go way up north. Because people ask me all the time, where do I live? Okay? I said, Santa Claus, Sudbury. Just a little south of the Arctic Circle. No, I'm joking, but guys, the Inuit that we used to call the Eskimo, okay? And they were the healthiest people in the stinking world. They were healthy. Like Eskimos didn't chase a seal, and have a heart attack. Well, Dr. Martin, they died. Yeah, well, the polar bears ate them. They didn't die from their diet. They didn't even know what heart disease was. And they're genetically very susceptible to diabetes. Genetically, they are. They have a weakness throughout the whole tribe. They have a weakness. But because they didn't eat crap, they were eating blubber all day and organ meat. The muscle they used to give to their dogs. They wouldn't eat, they'd eat the organs. They ate everything. Fat. This is just a fact. It's just a fact. And now the Inuit are very unhealthy people in general. What happened? Well, we introduced, I always said this as a joke. It's, we introduced McDonald's to them. I hate to blame. I didn't mean to blame a company. But you know what I mean by that. We introduced white man's food to them. We're consuming, remember again this article, in 2 weeks, we consume right? In 2 weeks, we consume what they used to consume in a year, 100 years ago, of just sugar. I'm not even talking about things that turn to sugar rapidly. You know what I'm scared of in medical school? Because they're going to start teaching nutrition in the United States. It's a fear of mine, okay? You know what they're going to teach them? They're going to teach nutrition, and if they get dietitians in there to teach them, moderation. And you guys, my audience knows it's elimination, not moderation. It's elimination. And this is when I would go speak and even do clinics in the reservations. I say, guys, you got to go back to the way you used to eat. You got to go back to that. That's when you were healthy. And now you're not. As a matter of fact, you're the most unhealthy people in all of Canada and the Pima Indians, for example, in the United States. I mean, they're on steroids. They're so sick, bad. You know what I mean? Like sickness on steroids. But it all has to do with the diet. It's not their genetics. Genetics load the gun, but it's what's happened to them. And guys, that is one of the best examples we could use on, okay, maybe we ought to change. Maybe we ought not to listen to the craziness out there on nutrition. Nutrition 101. There's two schools of thought. And you guys know which one I'm in. I'm a very low carb guy. I'm not saying no carbs. I don't do that to people, and I mean that. You want to go carnivore? Nah, I'm not. That's temporary in my opinion. I don't care about that. I want you to change fuels. Guys, you know that. I want you to eat the best foods that your body was designed for. If you eat eggs, meat, and cheese, primarily, butter, good dairy, you'll never become a diabetic. You'll never, unless you get type 1 diabetes, which is autoimmune, which is another puppy altogether. But type 2, which we used to call sugar diabetes, you're just never going to get that. You can't get it without being a carboholic. It's impossible. You have to be a carboholic. You have to be a sugarholic to become a diabetic, because your body is dedicated. It is so fearfully and wonderfully made. And I don't mind telling you this. Your body is a fighting machine. It will fight diabetes like you would not believe. Why? Your body's dedicated to keeping your sugar. Your body's smarter than medicine is. Medicine says moderation. Your body says, nah, elimination. Don't give me too much sugar, because then I have to secrete insulin. And insulin has a job to do. It will not allow sugar to park in a no parking zone, which is your bloodstream. From your brain to your toes, sugar can't stay in the bloodstream. It must be tightly regulated. You cannot become a diabetic. I don't care if you got genetics like me. You cannot become a diabetic unless you're a carboholic. And then, you want to see me get a migraine? A diabetic is told, imagine. I used to tell my patients in the office that were diabetic. I told them the cat story. No, you guys have heard this, but my new people maybe haven't heard my cat story. Okay? Have you heard the cat story? Okay. It's a true story. Lady comes in the office, terrible allergies. She's sneezing, coughing, barking. I take her blood. She's got all these mast cells in her blood. Mast cells, M-A-S-T. They release histamine. I said, you got allergies? And she said, yes, doc, that's why I'm here. I said, well, what are you allergic to? My cat. I said, get rid of it. She said, I can't. I said, well, how can I help you? You got to get rid of your cat. You're a diabetic. You got to get rid of the sugar. You have an allergy to it. You and sugar don't get along. You and carbohydrates don't get along. You don't. You have to accept that. It's food. It's hard to accept. Dr. Martin. I heard that a million times. Dr. Martin, you mean to tell me I got an allergy to sugar? Yep. Isn't it good to know? Well, they weren't too happy. But I said, listen, go home. Remember what I told you. And by the way, here's what I also would tell them. You know diabetes? And when you're you're already a diabetic, okay? Like this pre-diabetic stuff. Now you're diabetic. It's either you're on the Titanic or you're not. Your pre is, you know what? Well, they make up numbers, and if you're not at that number, you're not a diabetic. Yeah, you really are. Diabetes is the last thing that happens in your body. Never the first thing. It's the last thing that happens in the body. Your body, it fights sugar in the bloodstream, fights until it can't fight no more. And then you have sugar, and medicine comes in, and they go, okay, now we got to put you on metformin. Now we got to put you on Wegovy, whatever V, Ozempic, insulin. We got to give you meds. And all along, it was an allergy to sugar. All along. And because we weren't meant to eat the amount of sugar we're consuming. Do you know that diabetes? Look, diabetes has been around for a long time. Okay, guys? I know that. There was diabetes 100 years ago. My grandfather had diabetes. But it was so rare. It was rare. Today, 93% of the population, 93, have trouble with insulin. They have metabolic syndrome, which is measurable. I told someone the other day, put up your blood work. You know, this is why we teach this. You got to be your own doctor today. You got to be your own doctor. That doesn't mean you don't use doctors. It just means that you got to sort of be in control, because medicine today is not into prevention. They're into detection. Oh, you're not a diabetic. They don't even talk to you about food. Even though you're on the Titanic and you got metabolic syndrome and your A1C is up and your triglycerides are high, your HDL cholesterol is low, they don't know how to analyze that because they're not familiar really with metabolic syndrome. Even though metabolic syndrome, trouble with food, especially sugar or anything that breaks down into sugar. Don't fool yourself. You're having, Martin, it's oatmeal. Oh yeah, well your sugar will go through the roof when you eat oatmeal. You have an egg, and you know what your sugar does? Nothing. You have bacon and eggs, what does your sugar do? Nothing. Well, if sugar does nothing, meaning you don't have a lot of sugar in your bloodstream, what do you think insulin is doing? Nothing. It sits on the sidelines. And if you could talk to it, it would give you, or could talk to you, would give you a high five saying, thanks for eating that. I'm getting tired of cleaning up your mess. You got a lot of sugar in your bloodstream? I got to send in the troops to clean it up, to sweep it up, to mop up that sugar. Because sugar, okay, if your body could talk to you and insulin coming out of your pancreas could communicate with people, it would say, listen, sugar will destroy your blood vessels. That's the first thing that happens. And there's no light going off on the top of your head to tell you that, but it's happening. Sugar is destructive to your eyes. Ask a diabetic. I always say that to people. You don't believe sugar? Ask a diabetic. Ask about their eyesight. What's eyesight? Why does it affect their eyes? Circulation, sugar in the bloodstream, cataracts, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, you name it in the eyes. Oh, let's talk about kidneys. I'm not a prophet nor the son of one. But I knew one thing years ago when I was talking about kidneys and dialysis. I should have invested in dialysis machines, the companies that made them. I'd like to see their stock. It's crazy. Why? Well, your kidneys rely on circulation, blood supply. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Brain. What? Brain. Type 3 diabetes. Alzheimer's. Your memory. Your brain shrinks. It's swimming in fuel. It's like swimming in the Atlantic Ocean, but you can't drink the water. There's too much glucose in the brain. Type 3 diabetes. Oh, did they change that fast? They couldn't stand it. 2005, I was screaming. I was so excited on my radio show. They won a Nobel Prize in medicine on the discovery that Alzheimer's with type 3 diabetes, and then the food industry went mental. The pharmaceutical industry went mental, and they put a stop to it. True story, guys. And it's only guys like me that were screaming, the John the Baptist in the wilderness screaming against that. I said, man, it's sugar in the brain. You know, and everybody, you see medicine, let's talk Alzheimer's just for a minute. They're looking for love in all the wrong places. They want a medication to get rid of the plaque in the brain. It's been a colossal failure. The meds don't work because they're looking for love. You need to change your diet. Oh, my mother had Alzheimer's. That makes me more susceptible. Well, let's talk about that again. Genetics load the gun, but food pulls the trigger. That's the lesson, guys. That's the lesson. And you read about, like I said, I came across it yesterday on the Pima Indians. And I go, yeah, I got to talk about that again. A healthy people and not so healthy anymore. Their health has deteriorated. And I'll tell you, on Canada's, okay, I don't know about the United States, but I know this about Canada's reservations. It's 80% either diabetic or obese or both. It's unreal what we've done to these people. And, and of course they eat. And, the kids, they grow up on sugar. And I don't know if anybody's even telling them. You got a weakness, man. You can't eat like that. I want you to be healthy. Yeah. Anyway, remember, your body is dedicated to keeping you away from diabetes. It's dedicated to it. But if you don't listen to it, and when I say you guys already know this. You know what I mean? It's the world out there. It ain't you, babe. I think that's a song. Wasn't it? Sonny and Cher? It ain't you, babe. It ain't you. But you're listening. Okay. You know what tomorrow is? Q&A. Send your questions in to info@martinclinic.com. info@martinclinic.com. Okay? You get the book Sun, Steak, and Steel. It's still available in Canada. Not yet in the United States. But Rebuild Your Temple, our new book, is available in Canada and the United States. Thank you for making it the #1 health book in Canada. Okay? We appreciate it. Okay. I had to breathe there. I was getting excited. Okay, we love you guys very dearly. Talk to you soon.